Are you an influencer or a content creator?
Yeah.
क्या आपके वीडियोस में पॉलिटिकल ओपिनियंस होते हैं?
Yes.
Are you earning money from your travel blogs and food blogs on social media? Well, the government is planning to get new laws and censorship for you.
This is going to really hurt. That's what makes me uncomfortable.
Again, I'm trying to pay rent, guys, right now.
That's it. That's the end of the line for us.
The government has proposed a new broadcast bill which will affect social media influencers, digital news broadcasters, and content creators, and probably anybody with a social media account. Under the proposed new broadcast bill, if it ever comes through and becomes law,
every content creator has to register. तो license लेना पड़ेगा government से content बनाने के लिए. Second is we have to assign a grievance redressal officer.
We'll actually have to spend an inordinate amount of money to put together a content evaluation committee that approves each and every video before it's uploaded and published.
The legal ability in the hands of the troll. Anybody can get up, and they have the legal setup to lodge a complaint against my content.
so basically, if you are a content creator or a digital news broadcaster, the government may be looking at censoring what you can say or what you cannot.
Atrocious completely.
It's a freaking existential crisis for me. अभी तो शुरू किया है boss मैंने.
We speak to Meghnad, Faye D'Souza, and Dr. Medusa to understand how it may affect all of us who use social media.
Well, first of all, I must point out that I have seen a version of the bill that has leaked on the internet. In this case, we don't know if we're looking at the real thing. We're looking at a thing that has leaked on the internet, and we're responding to that. So that, I think, is the first caveat we should put out. So for those of us who are already part of a structure, who've been doing this for a while, we're part of the DigiPub Association, we have a lot of the self-regulation already in place. This is going to really hurt, in my mind, a lot of the newer news producers, people who are just starting out, people especially who are doing this in various languages across the country. It's going to make being an independent journalist extremely difficult.
To be perfectly honest, I laughed a lot. It was hilarious to read it because it's very unrealistic. They're trying to control the internet, and anybody who has tried to control the internet has not succeeded. हमारे यहाँ पे people have gotten a taste of the free internet already, right? We have grown up as young people to see like the internet going from dial-up to what it is today, right?
The first thought I was like, oops, that's it. That's the end of the line for us. Because the definitions are so vague and they are so, all encompassing that it's just mind-boggling. When I saw the language of the bill and how it was used to encompass almost everything under the sun.
But there are several clauses in the proposed bill, like expecting creators to have a content evaluation committee which will have to approve the content before it goes out, or appoint a grievance redressal officer for yourself, the practical applicability of which is severely questionable, right?
So I think for me, the most bizarre thing is the content evaluation committee. Now, from the version that I have read, it appears that it will not apply to news producers, but it will apply to everybody who is not a news producer on the internet. So I'm assuming, from my interpretation, anyone who is doing travel content, someone who is doing fitness content, a doctor who's putting out advice on Instagram, all of these influencers, everybody on YouTube who's doing content that is not news, will actually have to spend an inordinate amount of money to put together a content evaluation committee for your organization that approves each and every video before it goes, before it's uploaded and published. Whoever wrote this rule is obviously not fully familiar with how online content works.
There are some weird clauses in there. Like it has global applicability for some reason, right?
Yeah.
मतलब तुम Mr. Beast को एक content evaluation committee बिठाना पड़ेगा. I don't know, maybe Trump will have to be a broadcaster also, register as a broadcaster. We have to assign a grievance redressal officer, which means that there is a dude I have to hire who will take complaints from my trolls and critics and whoever. Now I'm thinking, एक तो मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है grievance redressal officer लेने का, like seriously, मतलब like again I'm trying to pay rent, guys, right now.
Because when you hear broadcasting, or when you hear the word broadcasting or broadcaster, you imagine this huge channel or this huge machinery that has all these satellites and these anchors who have like 2 crore ka package. Not so. Apparently, somebody with one phone like me, a one earphone like this mic, whatever it is, and a ring light is also a broadcaster. It's me, my Fufaji, he also is a broadcaster because he has this WhatsApp group which has more than 2 people. So yeah, he is also a broadcaster.
But then let's get real. The people who are doing all kinds of content on social media, be it a dentist from Mumbai with lakhs of followers who give dental advice and monetizes their content, or a woman from a tribal village in Jharkhand whose content you love, can both have the same means to be able to form a content evaluation committee or appoint a grievance redressal officer. Won't such stringent curbs on influencers impact free and fair right to use social media?
I don't think that someone who is putting dance videos out from interior Jharkhand or Uttar Pradesh can be asked to register with the government in 1 month's time. I do think that it's been done to largely put a chilling effect. What it will mean is that powerful people will stop commenting on the news. To prosecute with process anyone who's on the internet right now, everybody will sort of pull back and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to share Ishwar's video, even though I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And there is an understanding that the ability to get shared a lot is what gives Ishwar's video power.
License Raj, right? Which is like right now a creator can just take a phone, do a video. But then if this bill comes to pass, initially they might be able to do it. But then at some point they will have to register if they cross a certain threshold, if they go viral, if they start earning money. Obviously, like, like people will be discouraged. They're like, kyun hi karna hai? Sarkari kaam hai.
And if this bill becomes law, what is the kind of content that you will not be able to do and us as followers won't be able to consume?
Everything. Because you know what these guys, there's a line about what kind of content will be because of course we know the cable TV Act and etc. about things being decent, about things not being against social harmony and etc. So those things will definitely fall on us because first of all, then there is also this one line about innuendo and double meaning and things not being directly, which of course is what satire is.
So the program code that we have right now is from the Cable TV Act, which I have to comply to. It has really bizarre things. Like a program should be made in good taste. A program should not incite anti-national feelings. A program should not have innuendos and half-truths. Basically, I can't make jokes anymore. I can't do all these things.
I don't believe that any of the content that I do will get affected because, it's news, it's fact-checked news. I stand by all of the content that I put out. I do believe that this law actually leaves a lot of room for selective implementation, which is fancy words for harassment, really. So what it does is it says that, oh, we will decide this later and we will decide who gets exempted and we will decide whether or not we want to accept your renewal or whether we want to suspend your registration, which basically means a license Raj.
In all honesty, aren't there enough laws, regulations, and several forms of pushback and resistance that influencers and content creators already face?
So see, as the rules stand right now, we're all already registered with the Government of India as producers of digital content. We're required to have grievance officers within our organization who will handle grievances. We're required to be part of a self-regulatory body. And if someone who writes to us with a grievance feels that the grievance has not adequately been addressed, they can then address that grievance to the INB minister or the ministry as well. Now, this setup already exists.
One of the things is, of course, platforms tend to block channels. Platforms tend to censor people based on what the government is telling them to do. I mean, unpe bhi pressure hoga, whatever it is. But I mean, if Google can't handle pressure, then someone like me can. Is that a thing? Like, why can't Google handle the pressure? It's Google. Like, what is this nonsense, right? Like the other sort of curbs that we have is there are already existing laws There is UAPA, there is PMLA, there is police. Up to BNS ke under I can be declared a terrorist also.
Of course, there are so many, because it's the internet and it's a democratic space for anybody to come and abuse you as well. So, and being a woman on the internet with my face out on the internet, there are so many things we already face. And this particular with this particular bill, I think there's one of the major fears which I have is the ability in the legal ability in the hands of the troll.
So, if the contents of the leaked bill are actually something that the government is looking to do, what may be the motive behind it? Is it a repercussion of the kind of role that social media influencers and digital broadcasters played in the Lok Sabha elections?
I don't know if there's been enough time between the election results and this viral leaked draft bill, for us to draw that conclusion. We do know that it's been in the works for a while. The previous draft we saw was in December, and there has been sort of a bubbling need to also control social media the way that they have managed to control television news, for example, which is silence the voices that are speaking and coddle the voices that are being nice to you.
The funny thing is, of course, it has global applicability, but we all know who they are trying to target. They somehow seem to have convinced themselves that Dhruv Rathi is a big problem, and he lives outside. Yeah. So Dhruv Rathi, me, Ravish, Medusa, all these people are operating in an environment which is already rife for anti-establishment criticism. जॉब्स नहीं है लोगों के पास, पेपर लीक हो रहे हैं, ट्रेन डिरेल हो रहे हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मुंह पे गिर रहा है. People are angry. They are looking for people who are expressing that anger and with the same outrage and emotion that they feel. We are people who are doing that. These creators are the problem now, right? They want like some reason to explain away their defeat.
If you have read the bill, there is a section there which talks about how the government can relax these rules for anyone that they deem to have some genuine reason. And now, what is this genuine reason? This genuine hardship? It has not been mentioned. So it is completely up to the discretion of the government whether they want to relax these rules for anyone or not.
And most importantly, if something like this comes into force, it is also going to massively impact social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, along with several digital media stakeholders. So what are these platforms planning to do about it?
But one thing I'm hoping with this campaign is that the platforms do come on our side. Because honestly, we are the creators who are making content for you. We are getting you eyeballs. The eyeballs are watching ads. You are earning money because of us. So FFS, please be on our side. तुम्हारे business को बचाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं technically.
I think the platforms have a great deal of stake. And they should resist. But unfortunately, track record has shown that they're not so keen to resist. Up till now, India is a very important market for these platforms. Whether we're talking about Google or we're talking about Meta or we're talking about Twitter, we know that all the big guys in these companies have regular meetings with the Indian government, and they're sort of in agreement of the fact that they've been told very clearly that if you want to do business in India, you have to follow the Indian laws.
When you censor content like this, when you create these extremely stringent rules about what kind of content is going to be, the variety reduces, the kind of content which is produced also reduces, the creativity in this content also reduces, right? Because how many dance reels can you see? How many music reels can you see? How many bigoted Hindu versus Muslim reels will you see? You need variety in that in the content that you consume as well.
So how must India's strengthened opposition react?
The opposition has been talking about the fact that it's here to protect the democratic institutions that are the building blocks of this country. The free press is a massive democratic institution. The right to free speech is a fundamental right in our country. The opposition needs to stand up and exercise whatever influence it has, both within the media and inside of Parliament, to make its voice heard and to make a stout argument for the fact that this sort of law just cannot be brought into force in a country like ours.
Me and Dr. Medusa and a few other people, we have been trying to reach out to MPs. We met Priyanka Chaturvedi, we met Sanjay Singh, we met the AIPC head, which is Praveen Chakraborty. Now we want to do that, which is like, first, let's educate our MPs, right? Basically, हमारे लिए existential crisis है, guys. So, like, हमको करना पड़ेगा.